But first I have to save my bud,
What
Sonic!
are you doing? Why don't you get
Using
yourself...
the light attack allows you to destroy multiple...
And now for something completely different. If there's one thing you have to know about me, it's that I love Azumanga Daioh. It's easily my favorite anime, followed closely by Toradora and My Hero Academia. It's a comedy series set in high school with a colorful cast of characters and wacky scenarios. There's the 11-year-old prodigy Chiyo-chan, blissfully unaware Osaka, over-enthusiastic Tomo, straight woman Yomi, quiet and tall Sakaki, and the jock Kagura. You've also got your supporting cast in hot-headed English teacher Yukari, mostly level-headed PE teacher Nyamo, always obsessing over Sakaki girl Kaorin, and... that guy. It's a fantastic series that I'd recommend to anyone. I'm on the hunt for a copy of the manga myself, but sadly I have no money. A while back I was flipping through the library of games on the Sega NAOMI, which is the arcade equivalent of the Dreamcast just with more memory. I was looking through it because the only games I really knew on the platform were basically Monkey Ball and games that were later ported to the Dreamcast like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So you can imagine my surprise when I flipped through this list and found a game called Azumanga Daioh Puzzle Bobble. I thought to myself, surely you jest, why would there be a reskin of Puzzle Bobble based on my favorite anime? But as I looked on, I discovered it was very real, and it was actually released. In Japan only, go figure. But I knew I had to give this game a shot, so, well, here we are. For those who aren't familiar, Puzzle Bobble, or Bust a Move in the West, is a puzzle game spin-off of the platform-style arcade game Bubble Bobble, which is a game I absolutely adore. The object of the game is to shoot colorful bubbles into groups of 3 or more to throw off your opponent by filling up their screen. I do have some brief history with the game, as I found the game Puzzle Bobble 4 imported from Japan in an arcade when I was younger. I couldn't understand what anyone was saying because it was all in Japanese, but I liked the gameplay so I kept coming back to it while nobody else was. Little did I realize, I did play this kind of game before, as Dynamite, PopCap's take on the formula. Why isn't anyone else talking about this game? If I couldn't pick Bejeweled, I'd say Dynamite was my favorite PopCap game. Yeah, anyway. Azumanga Daioh Puzzle Bobble is essentially an Azumanga Daioh reskin over Puzzle Bobble 4, just with characters and graphics from the manga. As an arcade game, your modes are a bit limited. You can play a single-player puzzle mode, a series of matches versus a CPU, and 2 different 2-player modes that I wasn't able to showcase because I am lonely. The main mode I played was the versus CPU mode, since that's what I remember playing in Puzzle Bobble 4. You choose your character, and that sometimes determines what special bubbles appear on the board. Osaka and Yomi have rainbow bubbles that turn into the color of nearby popped bubbles. Tomo and Kagura have Chiyo-dad tokens that I believe don't actually do anything. And Kagura also has bubbles that act like Bejeweled's hypercubes, knocking out all the same color as the bubble that hit it. Chiyo and Sakagi don't seem to have anything. You go from stage to stage battling each member of the main cast. I chose Yomi because she is my spirit person. Seriously, the way she deals with everyone's antics, especially Tomo, is satisfying to watch, and she's just a great character overall. And I'll be honest, I think she's cute. Yeah, anyway, Puzzle Bobble's gameplay involves you aiming and shooting colored bubbles upwards to match groups of 3 or more. As you play, more bubbles will appear from the top, unless you're in puzzle mode, so you need to be constantly matching. The bubbles can bounce off walls, so you can use that to your advantage. I mentioned the special bubbles before, and when you're playing against opponents, both of their special bubbles appear on everyone's boards. When you play as Yomi, unsurprisingly Tomo is your first opponent, and just like the show, she's all talk and no show. Next up is Sakaki, who's a bit more of a challenge. I think she's holding back though. This second stage, however, is where I begin to have problems with this game. In your first stage, you have an indicator that tells you where the bubble's going to land, but after you win a match, that indicator goes away completely. And as you can see, once that's gone, I am a terrible shot. What I liked about games like Dynamite was that even if you can't exactly predict where the bubble, or in that game's case, egg, is gonna go, you still have a visual indicator of the direction it'll go. Here, nothing. That little arrow at the bottom of the screen is not enough for me. The worst part is, when I played Bust a Move 4 for that footage earlier in the video, there was no indicator at all. And the resolution was halved, so it was harder to tell some bubbles apart. I'm getting off track here. Where was I? Oh, right. Your next opponent is Osaka. You think with how airheaded she is that she'd be ditzy at this game, but you're quite wrong. Osaka's stage is actually where I started losing. This game's all about making matches quickly, and if you can't do that, you're gonna fall hard. It's like Puyo Puyo and Tetris in that regard. And I am not good at that. Coupled with the reticle disappearing every time you finish a stage, and as sometimes it's just hard to tell some pieces apart due to similar hues, I struggle to keep up sometimes. And I'm only at Osaka's stage! After Osaka is Kagura, who's competent but only marginally more difficult to beat than Osaka. Then we have Chiyo, who really puts her prodigy smarts into her game here. Afterwards, you face... yourself? In a Sonic the Fighters-esque twist, you face yourself in the 6th match. Boy, sometimes I wonder if I made a mistake choosing Yomi, cause those rainbow bubbles are annoying as heck. Once you finish that stage, you get one final match against another character from the show. In Yomi's case, it's Yukari. Her hot-headedness makes her one heck of a puzzler. I ended up having to stop here because I've never been able to beat Yukari even once. So afterwards, I went over to the puzzle mode. I picked Kagura this time because, it doesn't really matter. It's a stage-by-stage system where you simply have to clear the puzzle given to you. If you take too long, the ceiling starts to close in on you, giving you less room to shoot bubbles. And it just goes on from there. It'll introduce a few new concepts, such as wider puzzle areas, as well as the launcher not being right in the middle. It's a nice change of pace. After clearing a set of puzzles, you get some nice artwork based on events or interactions from the manga and show, which is nice, but unfortunately, like I said before, this game is in Japanese, so I can't understand any of the text or what the characters are saying. It's really cool that the voice actors from the show reprise their roles for this game, but man, where are the subtitles when you need them? That's pretty much it. It's a very basic one-off crossover puzzle game, so it makes sense why it didn't get released in America, or even ported to the Dreamcast. It was nice to see something related to Azumanga Daioh and other forms of media though. Seriously, I need to get my hands on that manga. For fans of the show, this game might be worth checking out. If not, then I'd stick with Busted Move 4. It's essentially the same base game, it's on more platforms including the PS1 and Dreamcast, and there's an English version. Of course, for a game of this style, I'm always going to pick Dynamite over Busted Move because I feel they just executed the overall feel of the gameplay better, even if there isn't a versus mode. Hey, they should make a sequel that has a versus mode. Time to start writing some tweets. Oh, before I go, I decided to do a Twitter poll to decide the order of the next game reviews. I'll have it up on my Twitter at ArtisIan_, so you can vote on that. The placement of each game in the poll determines when I look at them, so choose wisely. Thanks for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed this sorta review of Azumanga Daioh Puzzle Bobble. Seriously, go read the Azumanga Daioh manga or watch the anime. It's terrific stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna do another video game related video next month, so stay tuned. It's gonna be an interesting one. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you're notified of my next upload. See you guys later!